All right, you guys, welcome back to the Alpha platform. If you have not already, do not forget to support your gay content creators by hitting the like button and also subscribing. Thank you guys for the love on my latest video about my separation. I just want to let you guys know everything is fine. Y'all really went in on that video. Y'all left so many comments. Some of them, most of them were positive. Most of those comments were positive, but there were a few people, just spewing negativity. I just ignored it, kept it moving. But it's life. It's life, and it's part of marriage. And once again, I'm not going to come on here and be fake in front about my situation. I'm going to be honest. So when you guys go through things, or you meet a man and you get married, you know what to expect. You know how to make it work, and keep pushing past those hard moments, because like I said in my original video, it's worth it. Anyhow, let me get my thoughts together, because I want to word this carefully, because I have to be careful, because YouTube likes to limit the ads on my content, and I view this channel as artistry. I know it sounds like cliche, but I view it as artistry. I view myself as a creative, as an artist. And when you spend time creating videos and content, you want to make sure you're getting the benefits back, and the resources that you put in, you want a little bit back for yourself. So I'm going to be careful with how I say things, because I don't want to get demonetized. Anyhow, today I want to talk about OF culture. If you don't know what OF culture, you're probably too young. You should not be on this video. Specifically OF culture in the gay community. Let's say LGBTQ community, just to keep it broad. In our community, we treat OF models and any type of model on that same wavelength as celebrities. And I don't know why. I've never quite understood why we treat these people like celebrities, because they're doing the same things all of us do, just on camera, right? A side of me has always wondered why we tend to not treat these people with respect, most of the time. And I feel like it's because they appeal to the animalistic part of of humanity, of ourselves. We can't help what we're attracted to. We see something attractive and our brain automatically wants us to grab it, right? And it takes a lot of strength and willpower to say, no, I don't want this. And I think that's why society in general has such a demeaning attitude towards these type of models. There are a few people on YouTube that are in the OF platform, but they're also YouTube creators as well. And much respect for those people. I'm not coming down on these creators, I'm not coming down on these models. I just want to have the discussion. I'm at a point in my life where it's 2025. I'm not going to trip off another person's opinion. If you have a different opinion of mine, fine. That's perfectly fine. I don't care. I'm not going to trip off of it. You're entitled to your beliefs and opinions. I'm entitled to mine. So let's get started. Yes, we're going to talk about OF culture. I'm going to show you guys a few videos from Randy Glaze talking about it, other content creators talking about it. And I've always kind of wondered, do they regret their decisions? And what is the consequence years down the road of making this type of content? Because everything you do comes with a consequence, right? So let's hear what people have to say, and we'll get back to it. So let's start with AirThugger having a sit-down conversation with Randy Glaze. I've never heard of AirThugger. If you've heard about him, let me know about his content in the comments below. Do you enjoy it? Do you not enjoy it? Is he like one of those boring straight dudes? I don't know. So just let me know once again. Let's get into it.
Man, that's crazy, bro. You always got a lot of opportunities coming your way, you're blessed up, and
it just happens. I don't know. It just be falling in my lap, and I just be taking it. So
I'll say because you're different than a lot of other performers. You feel me? You bring something that a lot of people can't, which is a personality. You'll be surprised. You've been in the industry deeper than I have.
Yeah.
Some of these guys are great performers, but when it comes to the charisma, it's weird. It's hard to have a guy that's both.
That's what I mean. My time in the industry, that's what I noticed is a lot of people in the industry, males, are kind of either, I don't want to say fake, but wishy-washy or not as genuine, or how can I put this nicely? They weren't cool before porn, and now that they fuck bitches, they think they're cool. You feel me?
I think I know where you're going with that, actually.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's that sense of entitlement that people feel that are in the industry. It's I fuck bitches for a living. But it's you weren't cool beforehand, so why do you think you're cool now? I don't know. It's a long story, but that's how I feel about it.
Get into that story. So watch this. So during your run on OnlyFans, which is still going, we just made a collab by the way, so check it out, link in bio. Oh!
Yes, sir.
But you went on a crazy run with our boy James Angel, you know, a couple years ago, and like everybody is like, no one's gonna forget that run, bro. I remember the videos are crazy, fucking bitches in the car, like this
crazy,
lit shit. You guys had a little bit of a fallout. You wanna talk about that?
Yeah, so I mean, we were kind of like this. We was locked in for about like 2 years because we were signed to the same agent. So we got booked a lot. We, you know, spent a lot of time together. And
light skin, green eyes, you know, it's gonna work. Like,
and then plus he was cool too, so we just like connected off top. He was goofy as fuck. And so boom, here we are, 2 years down the road, and I'm talking to this OnlyFans girl who's like, you know, she happens to make a lot of money. Let me say like $400,000 a month. So it's, you know what I'm saying? It's nice to be with someone who got money, you know what I'm saying? It's like, why would I want to fuck with a broke bitch? I want to fuck with a bitch who got money, you know what I'm saying?
Care of.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
And that wasn't the only reason I was with her, but it's a plus, you feel me?
Yeah, she's
and so anyway.
See, before he gets into the conversation about James Angel and why they fell out, I just want to highlight the fact that straight dudes are on something. Like, they see not only gay men as tricks, but they starting to see women as tricks too. Like, it's like, what can I get out of you? What can I get out of you? So times are changing, man. Times are definitely changing big time. Let's let him continue.
Anyways, I was trying to plug him with her best friend who also made a lot of money, so we could do like a double date type shit, whatever. We ended up going to Dominican Republic, came back, tried to hook the nigga up with the bitch, and he kind of like was talking sideways about me to the girl to make himself look better. And I was like, why'd you do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you spilling my tea to somebody that like I'm trying to hook you up with?
Right.
And from there, he kind of like apologized, or like, he kind of like deflected it, and I was just like, whatever. So I feel like at the end of the day, like, he just made a poor decision, and I just cut him off as a friend. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, no, like, we fought or like, you know, cuss each other. It was just like, he made a poor decision, we stopped being friends, and then from then on is what, like, I didn't really speak about, because
that's not really your MO. You don't do that. You don't do the drama like that.
I don't go public with shit. But he went on, like, I guess lives or whatever, and was talking about, oh, he was this, he was that. And like, I'm like, bro, like, you're the one that blocked me because I cut you off. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense, because I don't use my platform for like drama and like talking shit. So I'm not finna go back and forth.
You just good on shows and run that back up.
Exactly.
Of course, yeah, you never
but then sometimes it does bother me, because I'll be on like Twitter or whatever, for instance, and people will like make sideways comments about shit that's like misinformation or like not true. They'll be like, oh, I heard, you know, he fucked your baby mama, or like this, that, and the third. And I'm like, what? What are you like?
Okay.
What are you talking about? Like, what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's literally just like, he made a poor decision, was talking shit behind my back, and I just cut him off as a friend. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if I wanted to spill his tea, like, I could get real messy, you know what I'm saying?
You can do that right now, but don't. We ain't got time for that. Man. It's like, you don't even really give a fuck about all that, because this is like,
that shit happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, like, I'm well past that shit, but a lot of people seem to like bring it up a lot, and I feel like for good reason, because
we're a good combination.
We had shit popping on the timeline, and like we had a lot of fans.
Really, like they had stuff popping. I mean, these are obviously good looking dudes, but I'm not familiar with AirThugger once again. He kept mentioning he could spill James Angel's tea. And I haven't watched James Angel's content either, but what tea you got to spill, bro? Like, I'm at a point where it's just like, just spill it. Like, if you have something to say, just spill it. I wish they would have talked more about the dark side of doing OF, but it looks like they're not going to talk about it. They're just talking about, you know, the positives, the benefits, and what the rewards they reap from it. So I want to move on to the next video, but this is AirThugger and Granny Glaze. Hopefully we'll get some more honest conversations from the two in the future, specifically Granny Glaze, because if I recall, he did film some gay content. He did film some gay content with, who was that? Jacoby and Jacoby's partner. So the money must not be adding up, because he once swore that he would never do it, but now he's doing it. So the money must have been looking funny, and they had to do what they had to do. But I think the gays are starting to catch on to this. The gays are getting tired of being played. They're getting tired of queer baiting, because I cannot stand queer baiting. I hate it with a passion. But I think I'm proud of my gay brothers, because we are standing up for ourselves. We're not taking this anymore. Like, you're not going to keep making, like, this dude's gonna talk about how he made $40,000 to $50,000 a month. A month. I'll show you that video pretty soon. But we're not gonna keep giving you our money when the cost of living is so high and you're not giving us what we want in return. Like, we gotta stop being tricks. We gotta stop being simps for these dudes, because these dudes are treating us like licks. Let's move on to the next video.
During that time, I was just applying for so many jobs in corporate America, and I was just thinking that was my major source of income, and I was just going to follow the quote-unquote American dream of working hard and stepping up and just trying to be able to climb that ladder. I'm not saying that I'm not continuing with that path. I still am, but I also realized that I can't just put all of my hard work and effort into relying on just a corporate job.
Before he continues, I just want to say right off the back, this dude is refreshing. Like, his whole vibe, the way he's talking about the subject matter, the way he's explaining why he got into the industry, it's refreshing to see that. Like, he doesn't come off as cocky, arrogant, condescending to the gays, nothing like that, homophobic, nothing like that. It seems like he just stumbled into it because he was just a regular dude looking for a job, maybe had a hard time in his career field, and he just wanted some extra money on the side. But, hearing his perspective thus far, I feel like, once again, it's refreshing. And I think that it gives me a new lens by which I can look at these creators, because maybe everybody isn't a Granny Glaze. How do you say his name? Granny Glaze, an AirThugger, a James Angel, a Nico's Aesthetic. Some people are doing it, just average people doing it, just to try to, make some extra income on the side. But let's let him continue.
During that 8 months of constantly searching for work and getting a Microsoft certification in data analytics and being able to do interviews, and even with one of them, I was able to fly out to Princeton University and do a full day of interviews, but I still was rejected. And, getting to these points where I struggled with just trying to even land interviews, and then reflecting that even if I can get an additional certification and that I have a master's degree in applied statistics, and just struggling to just hear from any company out there. I applied to 350 job applications, and 1% to 2% of those applications, from the data that I have tracked, 1% to 2% of those applications got back to me for at least one round of interviews.
I believe this dude because he got his master's in stats. That's a hard degree to get. And, most people, they get a stats degree, they just stick with a bachelor's, but they don't pursue a master's. The fact that he did lets me know that he's driven, he's educated, he's intellectual. And if he was really struggling to find a job, I believe him.
And it's a decision that I feel a lot of companies make, which is they are not wanting to hire as much. There's just a large competition or a large pool of applicants for jobs, just as there are for many colleges, but they only become competitive as a consequence of decreasing the admission rate or decreasing the percentage of people being admitted to these colleges, so they can hence be very competitive and very.
But it's only competitive because of globalization. Like, you have to remember, we're competing against the entire global workforce for U.S. jobs. We literally are. I'm going to skip ahead in this video. I really want to get to his reasoning as to why, the nitty gritty as to why he is doing OF. So let's see if I can skip around. Give me just a moment.
And I was on Medicaid. I had been on food stamps. And I was at the point of being potentially homeless.
Wow.
And I was very lucky enough within 2 to 3 weeks of just being in a situation, a very dire situation, where I would have to be kicked out of where I was staying at. I didn't want to move back into my parents' place in Indiana. I wanted to be in a very supportive, like a very LGBTQ plus friendly area.
I can't blame this dude. this is also why it's important for us to try to find partners, because that's what a partner is there for, to help you when you fall down. If we just remain chronically single, who's going to help us when we have lows in our lives? Like, who's going to help us? Because the lows and the valleys will come. They will come.
Area, and I didn't really feel I was getting that in Indiana. Eyes also on just my looks. Now, obviously, that's not the best thing to say to the world, but sex sells. Your looks sell. People will pay you for a lot of things, like kinks that they have. And to be fair, I grew up very sheltered, and there is this part of me that wants to explore and continue to understand what I like and what I don't like. And I feel that this can challenge me, but this is also something that interests me. And I think that a lot of times sex workers get a negative rap. I just met up with somebody who does sex work, actually. I had lunch with him. I've seen his content even before I approached him at the gym and started talking to him. And, he's somebody that he's a little bit younger than me, but he's been doing this for several years, and he's been with a lot of the big names. But he's been telling me about how he dropped out of college because he realized that it's not for him, and he just did not have enough faith and confidence, especially being told by his professors when he was there his first year that, the chance or the odds of you landing a job are very slim unless you have a lot of internship experience today. And he's very close to my age, and he's not, and I don't think that's far off, even if we were in two different fields. Analytics is so hard to get into, and there are some people in the tech space that I follow. One of them has 3 decades of experience. He has worked.
Okay, bro. So we get it. We understand why he's doing OF. I really like his personality, his vibe, and his energy. He just comes off as a regular, down to earth type of dude, and I feel him. Like, I feel his reasoning behind why he's doing what he's doing. He tried to do it the straight lace way, and it just wasn't working out. I didn't get that same vibe from AirThugger and Grandy Glaze. Next video. Now let's get into the consequences of OF. Excuse me. It's refreshing that people are willing to come out and speak out about the reality of the situation. And this one is titled "OnlyFans and Money Almost Ruined Me, My Testimony."
I was, I had e-commerce businesses, digital marketing businesses, went from there, became a professional bodybuilder. And then during this time, as my social media was growing and all of that, I started getting tons and tons of comments and DMs, do you have OnlyFans? Do you have OnlyFans? And in the beginning, it was very easy to pass off. It was not something I ever really entertained. But then I started hearing rumors of the money. And then
this dude like he got the OnlyFans starter pack. Man, I cannot talk today. This dude looks like he has the OnlyFans starter pack. The muscles, the scruffy beard, he just hit a jackpot doing OF. And I think it's from steroids, not hating, just saying I think it's from steroids because he has that puffy look. And what do you call this? The deltoids are looking very deltoidy back here and whatnot. So I think it's steroids, but let's let him continue.
I met a few people in person who were on OnlyFans, and the amount of money they were making was absolutely insane. So I decided to dip my feet in. And when I dipped my feet in, it was very apparent how much money was in this space. So I went all in. And with this, even though I had no kind of deep set morality, I still knew right and wrong, and it didn't feel right. So because it didn't feel right, and during this time too, I had no issue with dealing with lust or anything like that. I was married, my wife and I were doing this in agreement, but I was not doing this for anybody's attention. It was purely for the money.
So this is a straight dude. Okay, all right, man.
So what I wanted to do was remove myself from it completely. It didn't feel right. I didn't like interacting with any of it. So what I did is I hired an agency. That way, all I had to do was take the content, take the picture, take the video, only a few a week, send it to the agency, and then they dealt with the rest. They talked to everybody for me. They put the content up. They acted as me. And I can honestly say every day for these few months that I was on, it was so soul sucking. It was the darkest time of my life. This would have been spring or summer of 2023. And this is truly the darkest time of my life. Felt insanely lost. And how I would describe it to people is, what it felt like is if someone around the world was enjoying my content, it was almost as if they were sucking a part of my soul away from me. Looking back now, what it really was what I believe is Matthew 18:6. It says, if any one of you causes one of those who believe in me to sin, it'd be better for you to have a millstone hung around your neck and you thrown into the sea.
All right, so this dude is religious. I'm not a religious person. If you're not as well, and if it kind of how can I put it, triggers you, feel free to click away or fast forward through this part, because I think he's religious and talking about his beliefs.
I truly believe that because I was not only participating in something that wasn't good, I was also helping other people be further from God. Because of this, I truly, every day, it was wrecking my soul. It was just absolute turmoil, even though the money was insane. I was making $40,000 to $50,000 a month.
Wait a minute, pause. Can y'all imagine bringing home $50K a month? Let me say that again. Can you imagine bringing home $50K a month? Something inside of me tells me this only happens with the white OF creators. I've never heard a black OF creator come out and say, I made $50K in 1 month. If you have, let me know who in the comments below. But it's funny how white people get to the bag. Like, for some reason, our society in the US, white people are always getting to the bag. But us as black people, it feels like we're fighting for scraps. Even on YouTube as a content creator, you have to beg people as a black gay content creator to support your channel, to like, subscribe. But these white gays, they get their fans support them. I'm not saying y'all don't support us, but I'm just saying, like, it's easier for them to find their audience and their niche, and their fans go all out. They pay the big bucks, the big money. They buy their merchandise. They support these dudes heavily, and $50K a month is insane. That's more than some people make in a single year. So that's a lot of money.
Easy. It was the easiest money I've ever made in my entire life. But I've never been more lost, more depressed, more dark than I ever was during this time. So it all culminated. There's about 2-week period where it was like every hour of every day. It was absolute, the most pain, turmoil, just disgusting feeling. And so one night my wife was asleep and I was alone in the living room, and I just literally was brought to my knees, bawling, crying. And for the first time in my life, I truly called out to God. It wasn't, how I was seeking, when I was doing New Age. It wasn't, how I prayed when I was growing up. I was truly calling out to God and begging for God. Almost instantaneous. I had the most overwhelming peace and love overcoming. I had chills just from the top of my head to the soles of my feet. Feeling just that overwhelming, immense level of peace. The most peace I've ever felt in my life. So right then and there, I gave my life to Christ. And when I...
Okay, bro. Well, you get it. I got it. But that's a lot of money a month. That's a ton of money a month. And a part of me always felt like these people felt guilty about what they are doing, but they're not being honest about it. They're not being honest about the dark side and the downside of this stuff. And I applaud this dude for coming out and speaking out against it and warning other people, because we, as people who don't participate or who are not filming OF content, we tend to look at these people and hear about how much money they make, and we feel some type of way about it. Like, man, that's easy money. Like, if I could do that, I would, but the consequences are just too great. Like, I have to be able to look myself in the mirror every single day, and I can't do that doing or taking the easy way out to make money. Like, it's not for everybody. So I applaud this dude for being honest and for opening up about his experiences, because a lot of teenagers, a lot of young people are going to be led down the wrong path. They're going to be surprised when the consequence, and repercussions come out years down the road in terms of them doing OF. So let's just, give this man a hand clap, a round of applause for just being honest. Let's move on to the next video. All right, this is the last video. This is called Do I Regret Making an OF 4 years later?
We're 4 years in, and how do I feel?
First off, sorry about the audio. I turned it up as loud as I could, but I think the audio issue is on his side, not mine.
Well, how do I feel right now? I feel great right now. Over the course of the last 4 years, I have had moments though where I'm up and down. I feel good about it, and then I'm not so sure, and then I feel great about it, and then I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Overall, I can say, I think it's been a great decision for me. If you've been following me for a long time, you know in 2017, I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. The reason I'm touching on this is because this brings up one of the first points of how OnlyFans actually impacted my life in a really positive way. When I had testicular cancer, obviously I lost a nut. R.I.P. We miss him. That
not to laugh.
Great.
Right. I'm not laughing about his diagnosis. I'm laughing about the terminology that he used to refer to his surgery. Sorry, I got a message notification. The terminology he used to refer to his surgery to treat his oncology treatments or whatnot, or to undergo oncology treatments.
Greatly impacted my self-esteem, like more than I can even tell you guys. I really started looking at my body differently, and I kind of felt like I couldn't offer enough to people, and I couldn't offer as much as other guys, and I felt incomplete, and I felt really insecure to show myself naked, whether I was with someone or I was at the gym changing or I was at like a nude beach or something, and it was really tough for me. I had also never done any type of nudity online before. I had kept it very PG, and so moving into something like this was a huge step into unknown territory. But the more I did it, I actually started to feel really confident about myself and my body again. And I started to reaffirm to myself positive affirmations about my body, and it really helped me. And having an OF account, people would comment on my photos and message me, and they would show support and, you know, all these compliments and stuff like that. And I have to say, it really helped my self-esteem. Now you may say, oh, well, that's vanity and that's, you know, vain and blah, 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 blah. But I'm just being honest with you guys, like as someone who went through that, I was really in my head about it, and it really affected me. And so to have people online be like, oh, hey, no, like, you know, we love your photos and blah, blah, blah. It really helped me in a positive way in my mindset. So for that, I'm really grateful. OF also.
I've noticed I really enjoy listening to average, quote unquote, average people talk about filming OF content, because they don't come off as so cocky and arrogant, you know, like it's giving me once again a fresh lens to look at the situation. I almost feel bad. I don't want to come off as judgmental towards any content creator, but previously, before this video, I had never really done a deep dive or did a deep dive into people's explanation as to why they're doing what they're doing and the benefits or the consequences of it. So this is actually pretty good. I'm enlightened. This is great.
Also provided financial support that I'd never had, and that allowed me to go get a testicular implant surgery, which was great for my confidence. It was like a huge boost for me. And I mean, so for that alone, I am so thankful that the resources allowed me to do something like that, which helped me feel, again, even better about my body, because it's tough when you know your body for so long and then something's taken away from you, and then you just, I don't know, you kind of feel incomplete. Not that you are, but that's just how I was feeling at the time. So to start off, things were looking pretty good. Now, over the course of the first year, my account did really well, and I was able to pay off a lot of debt, and I was able to kind of get ahead for the first time in my life, which was nice. Now, finances aren't everything. You gotta see how is it, you know, doing with your mental health, and how are people treating you, and are you okay with what you're doing? And I think growing up in a very Christian conservative environment, there was so much shame based around porn and sex before marriage and homosexuality, all of these things that I've been breaking over the course of the last 15 years. Now, I never thought I would get into my OF type of work, and over the years, it's definitely progressed. I started with photos and very light videos, and now I do full-on tapes and collabs with people, which if you subscribe to my page, you can see a lot of them are on the main page for free when you subscribe, so you can go check that out. But I really have come to learn a lot about myself through that process, and one of those things is that I really enjoy it. I love what I do. I enjoy what I do, and I look forward to it. And it's a way for me to be creative with no limits. And there's something about kind of just putting yourself out there into the world fully. There's nothing left for people to judge. I mean, there probably is, and people still will. But it's kind of like, there's nothing there for you to say that can hurt me, you know? And it's hard to get to that place, and I'm not saying I'm perfect. Like, there are still things I struggle with mentally, but
Okay, so it turns out he's not doing OF just for the money. It was also for his self-esteem. And once again, I didn't think about it that way. I didn't think that people are getting a self-esteem boost by filming this type of content and putting it out there. This is the last video. It's still not for me. I don't care how much money one can make from it. I still think it's harmful. You know, I think it's the easy way out. This dude needed money, you know, for his treatment, and I totally understand that. I cannot judge him for that. But he also used the money to pay off debt, which is fine as well. But someone like me, I also, you know, had to pay off some debts, and I did what I had to do. You know, I strapped up. I was a man about it. I got, you know, worked 2 jobs for an entire year just to get ahead, you know. And it's coming to a place as an average person where it feels like you can never get ahead anymore. Like, it feels like everything is just out of reach. And I can understand why people are just giving up. And maybe part of giving up is just saying, F it. I might as well do OF, because what else do I have, you know, to look forward to? I can't afford a house. I can't afford to drive a nice car anymore. You know, it's hard to find a job. Food is high. Gas is high. Everything is high. You know, Beyonce about to go on tour. I don't have no money for the tour tickets, you know. So, you know, there's just a lot of things stacked up against the average man. So I can't judge these people too harshly, but I just feel like if you're going to get into this, you need to know the pros and the cons. And the young people, I just think, please stay away from this stuff until you can, literally until your brain is fully developed at the age of 25. Then do it. But before then, it's just know what you're getting yourself into. And I feel like you should just wait. Just give it a break and wait, because OF, this type of content isn't going anywhere. All right, so what did you guys think about the content? What did you think about the video? What did you think about what people had to say, the content creators? What do you think about Granny Glaze, AirThugger, the other content creators we watched? It's interesting. It's interesting to see how this is going to unfold, especially during a Trump presidency, where I feel like all this stuff is going to be banned pretty soon, because if you live in a lot of red states, in a red state like I do, right now you cannot access certain websites. You can't do it. You have to use a VPN. And that's, in my mind, a stepping stone for just banning the entire type of content that's being put out by these models. Once again, I gotta be careful, you guys, so excuse me, for banning the entire type of content put out by these models. So we'll see what unfolds during the next 4 years, but it's like, whatever you put on the internet, it's always there. I don't want my mom seeing me doing X, Y, and Z. I don't want my children, my future children, seeing me doing it. I don't want people seeing me doing X, Y, and Z. But, you know, props to these people. They're brave, whatever. Support your gay content creators by liking and subscribing. I just appreciate it so much. Wolf is back with Pat. Take care and peace.